Today, we are talking all about feeling your feelings. Feeling your feelings. I think this is something that previously a lot of you have said to me, like, it's hard to feel my feelings because sometimes I feel really uncomfortable. When I feel joy, when I feel positivity, I feel incredible. But when I feel like I'm overthinking or in my head, it feels really uncomfortable. And I think for me, what I've always recognized is that the feelings pass, and I've really tried to practice not to react when I'm in a place of feeling really uncomfortable. So I had shared with you a couple episodes ago that I was having some particular feelings about a friendship that is not going the way that I want it to go. And I this can be said for any relationship that you have in your life. Do you ever find that when one friendship or relationship isn't going the way that you want, you start to like think about your exes and you're like, and that relationship didn't go well, and that one didn't either. And you can go down this like lonely choo-choo train, and it's pretty lonesome. And so I think what's really important is when you are in a place where you're focused on yourself. Let's say maybe you recently broke up with someone, maybe you're thinking about breaking up with them, or you two have been broken up for a while now. You want to be really mindful that your feelings about these relationships ending or transitioning are going to come and go. There's going to be days where you feel yourself and you're on top of the world and you're, eating your kale and getting your workout in and you feel super energetic. And then there's going to be the days where, in my opinion, it's hard to get out of bed sometimes. You're just like, how far is the clicker from my bed? Can I just sit here a little bit longer and watch TV and, just sort of disconnect from the world? And my mom was pretty cool about this. Like when we were growing up, it was me. Well, my mom and I were growing up, but when I was growing up, my mom would let me take mental health days from school. And I would say on average, I probably got 3 or 4 of them throughout the year that I could use. There was never like a set amount, but if I just wasn't feeling it one day and you're feeling like, for me, I was feeling stressed and overwhelmed and I'm just tired, my mom would say, why don't you just take a day? I'll call school, let them know you're not coming. And it really gave me permission to just be, to just not be my best self. And that's okay. I'm a big believer that when we are creating a life that we're wildly obsessed with or a wannabe, that there's going to be days where we're uncomfortable and that the feels are going to be big. I always say that they're big feelings, like the ones that you're like, how long is this anxiety going to last? How long is this loneliness going to last? I can't wait for it to be over. And the fact is that, so like for me, when I started my business, and you guys know right now during this time that I'm chatting, Create a Business, which is a course, that a mastermind that I have for 6 months. It's women, non-binary individuals, all bodies, all backgrounds, who want to create a business or who have a business right now and they want to up level it. We are talking a lot about the feelings that come up related to our businesses. And what I found was when I first started my business, that my codependency, my love addiction, moved from the person I was dating, because at that point I had pretty much, I felt like I had it pretty much calmed down. Like I wasn't focused on when this person was going to call me or text me, when would I see them again. We had gotten into a good routine where I felt really safe and comfortable with them because I had used my voice, right? But when I started my business, it was a different story. It's almost like it transferred over to my business. And the reason being is because I cared a lot about what other people thought of me. Like people hadn't really, in my opinion, heard of love addiction outside of the rooms of 12-step recovery. People hadn't really been talking about codependency. People hadn't talked about the days that you feel incredible and you're working out and like I said, you're eating your kale. And there's other days where you are not doing any of that and you're literally standing up eating lunch and rushing between meetings. And for me, what I found was I was constantly going into this fight or flight mode of rushing, 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 doing. I became obsessed with my business, but in a way that didn't allow me to take care of myself because I was constantly like, oh, should I send the newsletter out Sundays or should I send it out Wednesdays? Should I send it out this day or should I do that? Should I record a podcast? Should I not? How much should I charge? Like, it was this constant fear, doubt, and insecurity that I was doing it all wrong. And the fact is, it was the same way I was acting previously in my love life. Again, when I had taken this time off to focus on myself, to not date, to really get some support in 12-step recovery around my sex and love addiction and understanding what that was and that deep need to be loved, I realized, like, oh shit, I am doing this when it comes to my business as well. And so it's why I teach people how to not care about what other people think of you in your business, how to literally show up, and you don't have to be the expert. I hear this a lot lately. It's like, oh, you should be the expert. You should be the expert. It's like, I'm experienced is what I am. I'm not the expert. I don't think even Oprah is the goddamn expert. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. I think that, like, Tony Robbins, for example, he's my man, but I don't believe that Tony Robbins is an expert. I think what happens is you surround yourself with people who are very experienced, and then you can pull from their knowledge, whether you hire them, whether you're listening to the podcast, whatever it may be. And it gives you the ability to take their insights or knowledge and use it and apply it into your own life. And that's the beauty of having a coach, is you take my 11 plus years of actively working on myself. And I've heard this expression one time, you collapse time, but you do. I remember this happens quite a bit, which is why I stopped doing consults. I would get on a consult with someone for an hour and they would feel so good after the hour that they wouldn't book coaching. And that's time that I've spent for free coaching them when I give free daily content. I give weekly content through the newsletter and the podcast. And I was like, so these people are feeling so good that it takes them through like another month or two. And then you better believe they're in my DMs, like being like, oh, hey, yeah, I saw this has really resonated. It's like, I can always tell when the coaching is starting to wear off. And that's why it's super important to surround yourself in an environment with people who get you, and you build this momentum. It's called immersion. It would be like if you decided to learn how to speak Spanish and you would go and live in Spain or a Spanish speaking country where you only could practice how to speak Spanish. It's the same thing when it comes to feeling your feelings as it relates to creating a business, feeling a feeling as it relates to believing in yourself, feeling the feelings as it relates to letting love into your life. But I'm a big believer, like, we got to understand why it is that we're attracting the kind of people that we're attracting first. We got to know ourselves and trust ourselves. Then we can go date differently. But if you don't know why you're attracting the people that you're attracting, if you don't understand why you're attracting them and where it comes from, yes, it comes from your parents, your caregivers. If you don't understand how to feel your feelings and how to use your voice, then what you're going to find is that you will not be able to date differently. You will be getting into a relationship where you lose yourself, or there's that, that energy that just doesn't feel aligned anymore. And you're going to apply the same thing in your career or your business, or the way that you make money, or the way that you receive money, the way that you have money. And that's why with this program, Create a Biz, catchy name, right? I really wanted to apply all those principles of how can we make it safe to receive, have everything that we want, be it the love life, be it the belief in ourselves, be it the feelings that we're feeling and not trying to distract ourselves with alcohol or drugs or sex or whatever, rock and roll, whatever. And then how do you also receive and have more money and more time? And I say this with so much love, but really caring less about what other people think of you. And it's pretty damn cool to be able to think about how my experiences and to take those experiences of what I've had and apply them into my life, because and then share them with other people like yourselves, because for the longest time I didn't want to feel my feelings. And again, this stems from childhood. I grew up in an environment where I felt like the other shoe was always going to drop. And I was always told that one parent, wasn't as great as the other parent, and that parent didn't love me that much. And that comes from a wounded self-esteem. It's because when my mom would feel her feelings, she wouldn't feel them. She would drink them away, or she would go love them away with somebody else. And don't get me wrong, there are some really great times about my mom too. I was actually doing an exercise recently about how to receive and have more money. And it asks you to go back and look at your most recent memory, like a past memory of that of with one of your parents. And I was thinking about a time where my mom and I would like dance around the living room on a Friday night. We'd have Fleetwood Mac or Chaka Khan on, and we'd have pizza from Papa Gino's, and we would have blockbuster movies. We'd get the twofer, not the one, the candy, the Starburst. Like we would just have it all. And it always felt plentiful. It always felt abundant. And then the next week, that Friday would come, and I would think that we would be doing the same thing, and it would be different. Either there was no money to spend on those things, or she wasn't around. And so it created this inconsistency that then allowed me to not feel my feelings. You know, it allowed me to go, well, shit, things are inconsistent. And this was so interesting when I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I was a big sister through big sister, little sister of Greater Boston. She's still in my life. And when I met Emma, my little sister, we had, gosh, we've probably been in each other's lives for like 15 years now. It's been a long time. But in training, you have to go through this training right at the beginning, and they say the most important thing that women, young girls need to feel their feelings and to feel safe and heard and understood is they need consistency. And men don't need that. Little boys don't need that. This is the training, by the way. I'm not sure how much proof there is now. I haven't looked this fact or figure up, but they talked about how men can be a little bit more flexible, can be a little bit more inconsistent. And I don't remember specifically the reason why, but they did say that men need to be active. Like little boys need to be active. You need to be moving them around, even if it's like, hey dude, we'll catch up next month. Like, okay, so you show up, like, and you go do that active thing. With girls, they need the consistency. And I thought that was so important, because I realized, I'm like, that is a whole reason why I think I grew up expecting friends, or expecting the people that I was in relationships with and attracted to, or even in my business when it came to clients, I expected consistency. And don't get me wrong, there were times where I was a reflection of my environment where I was inconsistent. I would say that in my business, I am probably the most consistent. Like, like my clients hear from me every week, unless I hear from them, and then I'm responsive within the 24 or 48 hours that I tell them I will be. There are certain promises that I've made to myself, specifically in my business, that help me to take care of myself so that I can be of better service to them. But then there's also, you know, inconsistent things that I'm doing inconsistently in my life, personal life. Like, and earlier in the year, it was like not managing my money, meaning that like money would come in and I would be living in my PayPal, and I was like, oh shit, I need to transfer that. Or I didn't realize how much money was going in or out. And I'm like, no, this is not how we operate anymore. As a high level, high achieving woman, like the thing that I want is to know how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. I also want to be able to be consistent in my love life. You know, the way that we build trust and confidence with somebody that we're first starting to date is we say nice things to them, and then we keep promises. My friend Kayla told me this, and I'm like, yeah, that's so true. And so I started keeping promises to myself, like going for workouts Monday through Friday. By the way, guys, I feel better too, which is really incredible. So I would say that when it comes to feeling your feelings, two exercises that I might suggest is one, what are the ways that you're being inconsistent in your life? And then two, what are the ways that you'd like to be more consistent? And I would remove the word should. It's not that you should be more consistent. It's not that you listen, there are things that I just straight up do not like doing. And so I don't do them. Like I know that I probably should, but I don't want to. And so there are things that you can be doing in your own life so that you can feel your feelings, but feel really confident and feel really empowered that these small promises that you're making to yourself make you feel really good about yourself. so that whenever you feel the big feelings, you have an outlet to go to that make you feel good. So with that being said, what I would suggest is get a routine where when those big feelings come up, you have the things that make you feel good. I have a self-care list in my phone. I constantly look to that when I am feeling the big feelings. And keep in mind, like, we might feel really confident when it comes to our businesses. We may also feel like love is a place where love with else is a place where we feel like things are missing. And that's okay. Like, I think it's also being able to acknowledge that those feelings are going to pass, and that we can literally just go to this self-care list, look at the things that make us feel really good about ourselves, and then continue to just move through. You don't have to push, you don't have to force. You can do whatever you need to do in that moment, because the next day it's going to pass, or the next day it will likely ease. But remember, our feelings are derived from the thoughts that we have. So if we're thinking that we are lonely or frustrated, or are we getting this right? Excuse me, or like we feel confused. Maybe some of the thoughts that we're thinking are we getting this right? You know, should I be focusing on myself right now? Should I have gone back with my ex? Like, whatever it may be. And I know I'm covering a lot of topics today. I feel I feel a little disorganized, and it's not because I'm not organized. It's because whenever I do these podcasts, I speak from the heart. I don't ever write things down. And I think it's really important to do that, because it allows me to have God, higher power, universe, just channel like whatever needs to be said through my higher self needs to say what it needs to say. And so that being said, if you guys are feeling like you need or want or desire to up level your life, you want to get what you want in your life, I want to encourage you that if you have a business, or you have the desire to be a business owner, that you come with us and create a biz. If you guys are listening to this in real time, here's the deal. It's a 6-month mastermind, which means it's a 6-month group of women and non-binary individuals who are coming together, of all bodies and backgrounds, who have a passion, a purpose. There's something bigger than them that they want to get out, but they don't know how to do it necessarily. They're like, sometimes I'm trying to be in control. Other times I'm feeling pretty like all over the place. Other times I feel like I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing, but I really want to apply what I'm learning as I'm focusing on myself and taking time off from dating. By the way, some women who are in the program that I'm doing actually already are in relationships. So your relationship status doesn't matter. But I think what I find is that many people want to come into this group because we are so elevated, because we are at this place where we're like, here, I'm gonna read to you what I wrote. She realizes that the whispers on her heart are urging her to start a business and to move through her fear that she doesn't know how to. She's ready to show up in a big way and believe in herself, believe that it gets to be easy. She leaves the hustle behind. She doesn't convince her friends to be her friends, nor does she convince it in her love life, and she certainly will not within her business. She has boundaries, and she's learning what those are, but sometimes still wavers as to what people will think of her in all aspects of her life. She's learning what feels aligned and what feels uncomfortable without making it mean anything about her, but she needs support. She's excited and nervous about feeling a sense of purpose she hasn't felt before in her business, and she's excited to learn how to let love into her life, then date again. And for some of you, it means like up leveling your relationship that you're currently in. Business feels like it comes easy for her because she's so passionate about what she does, but self-care can sometimes take a backseat because of fear that she won't make enough money or isn't paying the ones she loves enough time. She would like to put herself first, but sometimes still feels selfish, especially when she wants more in her life: better sex, more money, greater love, helping more people, time freedom, financial freedom. And sometimes it's in that order. She wants to believe in herself and is no stranger to hiring a coach, doing the inner work, and has done therapy to understand who she is and why. She's ready to dive deeper wholeheartedly and ready to dive so much deeper towards everything that she wants, like a greater belief in herself, confidence that makes others think she's inspiring, vacations, hiring a team, delegating tasks, paying herself, helping more people, letting business and love come easy. She wants to stay focused on how to believe in herself, be around supportive, like-minded people who can become best friends, clients, or both, and get ready to create a biz that you're wildly obsessed with while understanding all that she needs to know to ditch the hustle and create financial freedom with more time to spend doing what she loves with who she loves. So with that being said, if this feels aligned for you, please head over to katiegrimes.com. You'll see the pop-up come up, and you can also instant message me through Instagram. We will be sure it's direct message, and be sure to send you the link so that you guys can come join us for Create a Biz. Let's get it going. And health and happiness, y'all.